Hello, my name is Joshua Mugabi. I welcome you to topic 10.1, Asexual Reproduction in Plants. We are still looking at learning outcome B. Understand how plants produce or reproduce asexually. Today we are going to look at the learning activity. In groups, learners search on and discuss the crops in Uganda that are grown by vegetative reproduction on large scale and produce a report. We are on vegetative reproduction in Uganda, item 1. We are going to start with research work. A teacher assigns learners to work in small groups to find out which crops in Uganda are commonly grown using vegetative or what we refer to as asexual reproduction. After gathering information, each group agree on the vegetatively propagated crops in Uganda and present a written report. Task: identify at least 6 crops grown in Uganda that are propagated by vegetative reproduction on a large scale. So they want us to identify at least 6 crops that are grown specifically in Uganda and they are propagated by vegetative reproduction, and it is done on a large scale. We have some cassava, sweet potatoes, bananas, pineapples, sugarcane, ginger, Irish potato, and also yams. Describe the vegetative part used for each crop. Now here we have the crops, vegetative parts used, and the methods of propagation. Cassava. Cassava, we use stem cuttings as the vegetative part. And the method of propagation, they are stem cuttings. When it comes to sweet potatoes, we use vines or slips. And still also the method of propagation is stem cutting. The bananas, we use suckers. And the method of propagation is vegetative propagation. Then we have Irish potato. The Irish potato, we use the tubers. And these tubers, they have eyes. The method of propagation is tuber propagation. Sugarcanes, those ones we can use the cane sets. Still that one is a stem section, and the method of propagation is stem cutting. When it comes to pineapples, The pineapples, we can use the suckers. Those ones grow from the plant. Then we can also use the crown. The crown, those ones come from the fruit. And the method of propagation is vegetative propagation. Then we have jinga. For jinga, the vegetative part are the rhizomes. And the method, we call it rhizome division. Arrowroots, we also use rhizomes. Still, the method is rhizome division. When it comes to the yams, we use tubers. And the method of propagation is referred to as tuber propagation. Explain why vegetative reproduction is preferred for those crops. These crops are grown vegetatively on large scale because faster establishment and maturity, meaning that when you use vegetative propagation, they are growing very fast and they mature very fast because they are coming from parts of the plant. Then also, they are reliable. They provide uniform quality of produce. So when you use vegetative propagation, you are really sure of what you are going to produce, meaning that it is reliable, and the quality will be uniform, the same quality. Then they also help to preserve the desirable traits. And which desirable traits are we talking about? The taste, the size, and disease resistance. When you are using vegetative reproduction, you will get the same traits. The taste will be the same, it will not change, it will be like that one of the parent. It will give you the same size, and it will also be disease resistant. And then in addition to that, they are more economical than growing from seeds. These ones, because we are growing them from vegetative parts, and the vegetative parts are available already. So it becomes more economical because the seedlings or the vegetative parts are always available and can be accessed anytime when cultivation or growth is needed compared to the seeds. Then also, some crops, they don't produce viable seeds. Like for example, the bananas. So for the crops like the bananas, where we don't have seeds, the only method of propagation is going to be vegetative reproduction. So they will help us to produce such plants that don't have viable seeds. Then also, tissue culture gives disease-free planting materials. Tissue culture is where we have a part of a plant taken into the lab and cut into smaller pieces. And then those smaller pieces, each smaller piece will turn into a new plant, each smaller piece. Now, if this piece which we have got, where we are going to get thousands of plants, if it was disease-free, then also these plants that we are going to get are going to be disease-free. So, vegetative propagation, reproduction, when we are using tissue culture, can give us disease-free planting materials. What are the limitations farmers may face? Now, the disadvantages and limitations. The farmers are likely to get low genetic variation. And when you have low genetic variation, it means that there is increased vulnerability to pests and diseases. What does that one mean? It means that if this plant is attacked by a particular pest and a disease, so all of them, because they are got from the same plant parts, they are going also to be affected by those pests and diseases because of low genetic variation. Then another one is that they require skilled labor, and sometimes they are expensive methods. Example we are giving is that one of tissue culture. For tissue culture, where we get a part and turn it into very many producing pieces or new plants, it requires skills. So it is labor intensive and it is an expensive method. Then also transporting bulky materials like tubers and stems is costly. So if you are going to get these planting materials from very far, and you're going to plant a bigger area, transporting these tubers and stem becomes costly if compared to using seeds. Seeds occupy a very small area, but the tubers and the stems, they occupy a very large area, so it becomes very costly when it is time for planting. From which part of Uganda are these vegetatively propagated crops grown? Now, when you talk of bananas, the matoke, these are widely used in the central and western Uganda. That is where we mainly find matoke and bananas. When it comes to sweet potatoes, these sweet potatoes, they are grown nationally. Only what is required is quick root formation, provided that area has got good soils, and those good soil can facilitate quick root formation. They can allow sweet potatoes to grow, so they are grown nationally. Now, when it comes to Irish potato, these ones are mainly grown in Kigezi and Mbare, and you find that all these areas are highlands. So Irish potatoes grow very well in highlands. That's why they are grown in Kigezi highlands and Mbare highlands. Then when it comes to yam, these ones are mainly traditional crops in the eastern and the northern part of Uganda, though they can also grow in other areas. When you come to pineapple, the pineapples, these are commercially in Luwelo and Kayunga. That's where they grow a lot of pineapples. And when it comes to jinga can grow anywhere provided that area allows rapid multiplication of the jinga. Cassava. Cassava, for it is a staple food across the whole of Uganda. You can find it in very many areas of Uganda grown, that is cassava. Then when it comes to sugarcane, this one is majorly in Busoga and some parts of Uganda. That's where you will find most of the sugar cane. When it comes to citrus fruits, oranges, lemons, and so, these ones, they just need an area where there is good quality and disease resistance, where they can have good quality soils, where you can have disease resistance of these citrus, then they can grow in that particular area of the country. When it comes to mangoes, these ones can grow nationally, and they just need to ensure that there is uniform fruit quality. When it comes to coffee, coffee is also grown in different areas, provided the seedlings are disease-free. If you provide seedlings that are disease-free, they can grow in most all parts of Uganda. And the passion fruits, these ones are grown mainly in western part of Uganda, but they can also grow in many areas of Uganda. Compare your findings or compile your findings into a clear written report. So let's produce our report. We shall have the introduction. And here we say that many crops grown in Uganda are propagated through vegetative reproduction, whereby a new plant arises from vegetative parts such as stem cuttings, tubers, suckers, and rhizomes. This method is widely used by farmers because it is fast, it is reliable, and it maintains the characteristics of the parent plants. We are still compiling our findings into a clear written report. So let us look at the table of crops and vegetative parts. We have the crops, we have the vegetative part used, and the description of use. We start with cassava. Cassava, the vegetative part, are the stem cuttings. Cut pieces with nodes are planted to form a new plant. Then we go to bananas. The bananas, the vegetative part, we use the suckers. Here we are going to the side shoots from the mother banana plant are the ones that are replanted. We have the pineapple. The pineapple, we can use the suckers or we can use the crown. The sucker is the one that grows from the plant, and the crown is a vegetative part that grows from the fruit. So here the offshoots are removed and these ones are planted, and they're the ones that are going to grow into a new plant. We have the sugarcane. The sugarcane, we use the stem sets. The stem sets are the ones we are going to use. And these are just the sections of the cane that have got node. They are the ones that are going to sprout into a new plant. Then we have the Irish potato. Irish potato, we use the tubers. Here you can plant a whole tuber, or you can cut the tuber into pieces, provided those pieces have got the eyes, because the eyes are the ones that are going to form the new plants. Then we have ginger. Ginger, we use the rhizomes. Rhizomes, these are underground stems, and these ones divide and then they give us new shoots. Now, the explanation of advantages. Vegetative reproduction is widely used because it ensures uniformity of crops like bananas, cassava, and sugarcane. Then also, it reduces the growing time, especially in commercial farming. If you are growing things for the market and you want them to grow very fast, you use vegetative reproduction because the materials grow faster compared to the seeds. Then the farmers prefer it because yields are predictable. If you have used vegetative reproduction, you will know exactly what product you are going to produce. And some crops naturally lack seeds. Therefore, the farmers will prefer vegetative reproduction. For example, you talk of the bananas, they don't have seed. Conclusion: vegetative reproduction plays a major role in Uganda's agricultural production. The crops such as cassava, banana, sweet potato, pineapples, sugarcane, potatoes, and ginger, they rely heavily on it for fast and reliable multiplications. thus supporting both food security and commercial farming. Thank you very much for participating in topic 10.1, Asexual Reproduction in Plants. We are looking at learning outcome B. Understand how plants reproduce asexually. But we have been now looking at learning activity in groups. The learners researched on and discussed the crops in Uganda that are grown by vegetative reproduction on large scale and produce report.